So this is an interesting turn of events from Tim Pool. Like, for him to try to pretend that he didn't take Russian money. So here's the thing. I don't think he knew he was taking Russian money at the time. I don't think any of them knew. Like, I don't like Tim Pool, but I do like Matt Christensen and I do like Dave Rubin and I'm neutral on Benny Johnson. I don't like Lawrence Southern, but like I don't think any of them, when they signed up for Tenet Media, knew where the money was coming from. Dave Rubin at least took the time, and Tim Pool at least tried to take the time to find out where the money was coming from. But now that we know it was Russian money, there's no need to deny it. Just be like, I got fucking duped. I got duped. Oops. Lauren Chen and Liam pulled a fucking fast one on me. You know. Um, but there was no editorializing. They just asked me to do some content. Like, they didn't tell me what I could or couldn't say. They didn't force me to cover any topics they didn't want to cover. Which is basically what they did at first. But now Tim Pool is trying to claim that, bro, I never took any Russian money. What are you talking about? Prove it. Prove it, dog. Prove I took Russian money. Like, you did. Like, Tenet Media was a sham. And Lauren Chen knew. It was all bullshit. You're cooperating with the FBI in the investigation. And I get it. Maybe this is like a legal thing. He's just like, I gotta pretend he's gotta for the time being he has to act like it's all just like, I didn't take any Russian money. I don't know what you're talking about. He has to act all coy until the whole thing is settled. That's possible, but still, it just seems like such a stupid fucking thing for him to do. You know, I'm not, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this guy. I really don't like him that much. He's kind of a cunt, but it is what it is. But yeah, shout out to the Independent. MAGA influencer Tim Pool now claims there is no actual proof showing he unwittingly took Russian money. He took money from Tenet Media. He even admits it, that he took money from Tenet Media. He's playing the game of that, okay, well, Lauren Chen and Liam, her husband, and then the two people who are in the indictment, the two Russians, they haven't been convicted of any crimes in court, dog. Come on. OJ was fucking acquitted of murder, but we all know he did it. You know what I mean? Same kind of thing here. Pro-Trump podcaster Tim Pool. Oh yeah, but of course this is the Independent, so this is going to be heavily editorialized to be really, anti-Tim Pool and anti-Trump. You'll see. Pro-Trump podcaster Tim Pool is now openly questioning whether he was actually duped by a Russian propaganda operation that paid him hundreds of thousands of dollars to post videos for a front company claiming that the Department of Justice has shown no actual proof to back its allegations. Jared Holt, a right-wing extremism researcher who co-hosts the Posting Through It podcast, sent the MAGA influencer a series of questions ahead of Monday's episode detailing Pool's career and evolution into a popular right-wing provocateur. I wouldn't call Tim Pool a right-wing provocateur. He's popular on the right, but he himself is not particularly right-wing. He has some right-wing ideas, but Pool was explicitly asked. He's also not a provocateur. That's another thing. He's not provocative. He says a lot of milquetoast shit. What's provocative about fucking basic bitch milquetoast Tim fucking Pool? You know? Pool was explicitly asked about the DOJ's indictment alleging two Russian state media producers used fake personas to funnel $10 million into the video outlet Tenet Media, which hired Pool and other high-profile conservative personalities to produce content. At the time, the indictment was unsealed last September, which I read the whole indictment, by the way. Pool painted himself and the other Tenet creators, such as Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, and Lawrence Southern, as victims who have been deceived by a nefarious plot. Putin is a scumbag. Russia sucks donkey balls, Pool tweeted in response to those allegations. Pool would go even further in a video he posted stating that he would assist federal law enforcement in whatever way we can, reiterating that he was victimized by the Kremlin if the allegations were true about Tenet Media. And like I said, I read the indictment and it seems completely credible. I mean, it's also kind of telling the fact that after this indictment came out, even though Lauren Chen and Liam were never indicted, they were named in the indictment, but they were not indicted, they've completely vanished off the face of the fucking earth. They're just gone. They don't post social media anymore. They don't make video content. Nothing. They just poof, gone. You know, with their fucking anchor baby in Tennessee. I don't know. Hopefully they went back to Canada. I cannot get over that. This Canadian bitch and her like is constantly talking shit about like immigrants and immigration and all this stuff. Um and then she uses the dirtiest fucking tactic she possibly can. 1 month before she's about to give birth, her and her husband magically decide they're going to move to fucking Tennessee. Right before the baby's born. Anchor baby. Literal anchor baby bullshit. Oh, you can't deport me. My child is an American citizen. Snaky fucking shit, man. Mm. Months after Justice Department released its 32-page charging document that included messages, emails, and a fake resume from the Kremlin media actor, Pool now suggests that the evidence showing that he unwittingly received $100,000 per week from a Russian influence operation is flimsy at best, or perhaps even false. Quote, the indictment includes out-of-context messages that are in dispute, no actual proof of said messages, in fact, and claims without any corroborating hard evidence for anything else, Pool said when reached for comment by Holt. The Independent has reached out to Pool for comment. Of course, like I said, he has to deny, he has to deny this stuff in case he gets brought up on charges too, which he's not going to. The indictment doesn't even allege that Tim Pool or Dave Rubin or any of them knew where the money was coming from. Like the indictment more or less alleged that, like, hey, the only people who seemed to know what was going on here were obviously the two Russian people who were charged in the indictment, and then Lauren Chen and her husband Liam. Why they weren't charged, I don't fucking know, but they weren't. The Independent has reached out to Pool for comment. Pool went on to say that the amount he was paid by Tenet was inconsequential to me and my company, adding that the deal was minor and his own Timcast company was hiring additional employees to expand its operations. Quote, the end of the deal changed nothing in my life, company, hiring, or plans, he stated. It doesn't matter, like, if it's, everybody knows that Tim Pool's made a shitload of money before a lot of money. He's a multimillionaire before the Tenet Media deal came through. Like, everybody already knew that. But $100,000 is still $100,000, Tim. That's life-changing money for 99% of Americans. Quote, I think you're putting too much stock into claims from the DOJ that have never been adjudicated. I'm not sure why you would assume any of it de facto true. Poole told Holt about the indictment. Poole, who hosts one of the highest-rated podcasts in America, has also said that the amount he was paid by Tenet was market rate for someone of his stature, claiming that general ad reads on his show tend to cost sponsors tens of thousands of dollars. So, like, yeah, we get it. Big money, Tim Pool. So, like, he definitely took Tenet's money, but he's claiming that there's no proof that Tenet's money was Russian money, except all the messages and emails in the indictment. According to the indictment, both Rubin and Poole did inquire at one point about where the money was coming from, leading to Russians to make up Edward Grigorian, a supposed banker who was a free speech advocate. Grigorian's name was misspelled on many documents, and the influencers could find no evidence online that he worked for the real bank where he claimed to have made his money. Plus, a profile of Grigorian created by the Russians cited his interest in social justice, a red flag for Rubin, according to an email sent by one of Tenet's founders, the Washington Post reported at the time. Quote, I think it may be because it's usually a term used by liberals, but we're trying to create a conservative network. Tenet's founder wrote the Kremlin media producers, according to the indictment. Meanwhile, Holt noted that while Poole, quote, is correct that the government has not proven its claims in court yet, it's important to point out that the two Russia Today employees named in the indictment are based in Moscow. Quote, barring a radical change of the heart of Russian President Vladimir Putin, it's unlikely they will ever be extradited to the United States to stand trial, Holt added. In the end, Poole's association with Tenet hasn't hurt his company's relationships with the Trump administration. At the very least, last week, a Timcast staffer was added to the White House press pool. Good for him. Like, I'm glad that an American media company that isn't affiliated with any of the other major, that isn't affiliated with Fox News or CNN or NBC or any of these places, or ABC, whatever. Like, I'm glad that he's doing well. And again, I don't think Tim Pool did anything wrong. I think that he even tried to do his due diligence to find out where Tenet was getting its money. He still took the money. He doesn't even deny that he took the fucking money. He's just denying that the money came from Russia. But like I said, I read the indictment, and that indictment's pretty damning. And again, where the fuck's Lauren Chen? Lauren Chen has said nothing in defense of herself throughout this entire. She's just vanished into thin fucking air. She's just gone. Almost like it's legally expedient for her to not say anything. Like, stay out of this, Lauren. Like, don't talk. Don't incriminate yourself anymore, lest you end up also, or lest you also end up with an indictment. Who knows? But yeah, like I said, Tim Pool thinks you're stupid. He really does. That's one of the things I don't like about him is his smug, condescending arrogance. He genuinely thinks he's like one of the smartest people in the fucking room, any room that he's in. He thinks he's like it's his arrogance is one of the things I like the least. Is one of the things about him I like the least. You know, he's shitty to a lot of people. He's shitty to his co-hosts. Even the co-hosts I don't like. Like, I don't fucking like Ian Crossland. I think Ian Crossland's a fucking idiot. But like, Tim treats him like shit. Tim treated Adam Krigler like shit. You know, the only people that Tim like seems to treat with any modicum of respect, at least that I've seen, is like Phil LeBon, and that's it. And like maybe a couple other people. But like, he'll regularly bring people on specifically to like cause shit with like regular members of his show. Like whenever he brought on a few months back when he brought on Milo, just so that Milo could talk shit about Laura Loomer, and then also start shit with his shit, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, that Jewish guy that works for him. Because he knew the two of them don't particularly get along, or that they have a lot of like ideological disagreements, and he knows that Milo is a fucking, is a cunt who will sit there and talk shit and run his mouth. And so Tim likes to stir the pot. Like I said, I don't like Tim Pool. I don't think he did anything wrong here, and I don't think like. And again, if this is a legal strategy to try to cover his own ass legally, I get it. But I don't know, trying to gaslight everybody in America to pretend like you didn't take Russian money is like, dude, you got played. It's okay. Mistakes happen. Stop acting like you didn't do anything wrong. Or that like you didn't make a mistake. Because again, I don't think he necessarily did anything wrong. But stop acting like you didn't make a mistake. Again, he's smug, he's arrogant, he thinks he's perfect, he thinks he's never made any mistakes. He'll just gaslight the shit out of people. Like I said, Tim Pool thinks you're stupid. He does. Anyway, if you agree, let me know. Or if you disagree, let me know. But by all means, defend Tim Pool in my comment section. And then, like the video and follow the links. Follow me on X. Sub everywhere. Do all the algorithm stuff for me. Throw me a bone. Or don't throw me a bone. Don't throw it at me. Pick it up and, like, beat me over the head with it. Like, just, like, find, like, a dinosaur bone. And just whack.